Welcome back to episode 24 of Daily Drives, and today I'm talking about my experience going from the Air Force to the Army. Now, I know for a lot of people it seems like the counterintuitive approach to it because the Army is kind of known for not treating their people as well as the Air Force does. The Air Force is almost more like a corporate position in most people's perspective. But so the background in it is, of course, started off in the Air Force. Got 4 years in. I was lucky enough that I got to deploy early on. So when I got to my first duty station, I deployed about 6 or 7 months after that. And it was really appealing to me living in that deployed environment just because of the clarity of your mission and having that purpose every day that's so defined. So go back, after I get back from deployment, go back to Germany, and then move back stateside. And while I'm stateside, I'm looking to get on the next deployment, but our window of when we were open to deploying came and went, and then another time came and went again. And so at that point, I was really looking for any way to get back into that deployed environment. I would even volunteer for deployments and never got selected for that. So I thought to myself, well, the Army probably deploys a little bit more, and of course they do. And went and talked to the recruiter. At the time, I'm not sure if they still have it, but they had a program called Blue to Green, which allowed you to go from the Air Force to the Army, and that's what I did. So during the process, of course, out process from everything in the Air Force, you discharge one day, and then the next day is when you come back in as in the Army. So there's no break in service. So the first place we went, and going service to service like that between different branches is going to be the what you have to do and the steps necessary are going to be dependent on what branch you're coming to, from which one you're going from and which one you're going to. So in going from the Air Force to the Army, the first thing that we had to do was go to what they called Warrior Transition program or course, and it's out in White Sands, New Mexico. I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks out there, where they basically teach you the super basic fundamentals of the Army. So you learn about the rank structure, and a lot of it is more of the hands-on approach to whether it's marksmanship, working with the different weapons, doing mini patrols and stuff like that. So spent 3 weeks out there, and then from there I went to basic training. So for a lot of people that do go Air Force to Army, they just go from the traditional job to AIT, or what would be considered the tech school for the Army, where you learn about the job that you're going to be doing. Well, I went from firefighting to infantry, and with the infantry, it's one of the combat arms jobs. So the basic training and the AIT, or the technical training part of it, are all combined into one. I think it's like 13 weeks, and at the time, the only place that they were having the basic and the technical training after that was at Fort Benning in Georgia. So basically you're doing basic training for an extended amount of time. There's really not a whole lot of difference in the combat arms side of things as far as basic training and then the technical training that follows it, or the AIT. So go to Fort Benning, and of course they tell you that being prior service, the only thing you're going to do is the technical part of it. So you're not going to do the basic part you've already gone through the basic training in your previous branch, so you don't need to go through that. Well, they I don't know how they made the determination, but they had me go back, and I think I started at week 4 or week 5 of the Army side of things out of the whole 13-week program. So the Army basic training portion is 8 weeks. So essentially I got sent back to the middle part of basic training. And coming in, one of the things I wanted to do was I had just promoted in the Air Force prior to finalizing everything and the transition over. So one of the things I wanted to do was make sure that I kept my rank. I was E5, I was looking for a job that I could keep that E5, and of course something that was still going to deploy, and the infantry was one of the options that they had. So coming in the basic training as already as an E5 with 4 years of service, and of course they put me in charge of everyone because you have previous leadership experience, and they just throw you in with these brand new civilians that have just been in the military for 4 weeks. There's some frustration in trying to lead with that, because even coming in as that leader, they limit the amount of stuff that you can do, because the drill sergeants are still the ones in charge overall. So went through that, and then from there went to Korea, to Fort Hood, deployed out of Fort Hood, ended up ETSing after that, after I got back from Iraq. So it was a little bit of a process, not necessarily one that everyone would consider doing. You really have to have a strong reason why you want to make a transition like that, even between other branches. If you started saying like the Marines and you want to go to the Army or the Air Force, you need to have a strong reason why you want to do that. And my reason with it was I wanted to deploy more and see more of the world and take on a different job at the time. So that's a little bit of my background on it. Certainly an interesting experience, but probably wouldn't do it again. So there we go.